Welcome to JK Games, the game podcast where we bring you the gaming news we care about.
And maybe some that we don't.
And whether you play on easy mode,
or you like a good challenge,
this is a show where we'll try to level up your gaming knowledge. Pew, 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 pew. That's fireworks. That's my fireworks sound. If you can tell.
It sounds a bit like laser guns, but we'll go with it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Pew, pew, pew.
You're actually, that's exactly what that is, not fireworks. Hey, welcome. I'm Jerica, one of your hosts, and I am joined today by someone really cool. I had some stuff written in the document, but I don't remember what it is, so I'm going from memory again. Just wanted to say, photography extraordinaire. So I know you do photography. You also go to the Game Awards pretty frequently, which is also really cool. And now I'm sure there's other things I can add, and maybe I'll add to that at the end of this. But the kind of funny up-and-comer, Madeline Stanley, is in the house.
Yay!
Pew, 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 pew,
so happy
pew.
to be here with you, Jerica.
Well, I'm glad to have you, and it sort of worked out because Kayla is in Disney, so I needed someone to help me out this week, and and Madeline was being a cool sport, and I was like, hey, instead of just like being on here as a guest, would you like to actually like do the show with me? And yeah, you said yes.
Well, I have to support my fellow Disney head because I love Disney as well. I'm over here at Disneyland.
Okay.
It's different.
Yeah.
Some people would say it's better. Some people wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how Kayla feels.
I'll get her opinion on it, but I know like I've only been to Disneyland once, and it was only because I was there going to BlizzCon for, I was a long time ago. I got really into World of Warcraft. We had gone there and got lost somewhere in Anaheim, because that's Anaheim, right? Making sure that was Disneyland. We got into some theme park on accident, and we got lost. I was in, at some point, a really cool hotel. And then we saw Disney World, and we didn't pay to get in. I don't know how we made it inside.
What?
I really don't know. I think we went into a hotel.
Disney police are coming for you.
Bring it on. I keep telling my friends, like, if I ever get arrested, I'm going to add that to the list now. If it's definitely unpaid parking tickets, I've done something wrong on my taxes. I'm just following TurboTax, but I don't know if it's right. And now I'll add that to the list.
Literally me, though. That's same. Big same.
It's not going to be anything too bad, like murder or drug selling. I don't know. Is that how they say it? Drug selling?
I think we've definitely cleared you as not a drug dealer.
Okay, good. But yeah, so excited to have you here to talk about video games and stuff with me today. And I'm going to go ahead and do the little loadout bit. Kayla also does this normally too, but we'll have plenty of time to talk to Madeline about her adventures with Kind of Funny a couple weeks ago. I keep saying last week, but it feels like last week, but it was like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now, right?
Yeah, I think is it 2 or 3?
I don't know.
It was the very first week of October, so
okay, wow.
Maybe 3. Oof. It feels like just yesterday.
It does. But yeah, I definitely have some questions for you in the chat. If you have any questions for Madeline, we'll try to get to those. I don't promise it because, once again, Kayla's not here and she's really good at that stuff. But I got it up here. I'm going to try my best to stay on top of it. But yeah. Hey, welcome to the show. Normally what we do here is talk about video games, movies. Kayla reads a lot, so she'll talk about books. So we got any book nerds here, we'll occasionally get into that. But mainly games and the gaming news, what we've been playing. If there's new games that have come out, we'll talk about our first impressions, share some gameplay of what we've enjoyed, that sort of thing. Nothing too crazy. That's my middle name, Jerica, nothing too crazy Hannah. But yeah, I'm glad to have you. And I hope this is fun for you, Madeline. I hope this is a good journey.
I'm excited. We're bringing the enthusiasm, okay? It's going to be great.
Trying.
Jerica.
Normally, like I said, Kayla's the hype person for this one. Our socials. So, hey, you can find us everywhere, pretty much. Anywhere you can click on a search bar and search JK Games Podcast. Where you get your podcasts, where you search for podcasts. Maybe look for a Twitter account, X, whatever it's called. You search for us, you'll find us. We're pretty we're that popular, I think. And then what else do we normally go over here? We have an email address. I didn't type that up, if you can tell,
Ooh.
Madeline. We have an email address that if you have questions, comments, concerns, you can send that. I think it's jkgames at gmail.com.
Nice.
jkgamespodcast at gmail.com. Don't do the first one. I think I left off podcast. I do not know whose email that is. Yeah. So that's pretty much the loadout. In the links of this episode, I will include, this is new. This is something new we're doing. Last week, it may have been 2 weeks ago. Once again, I've lost track of time and space. But last week, I think that was last week, Kayla joined our friends at Spotlight Games to talk about mental health in video games. Really good episode. Please check it out. That is on YouTube on Spotlight Games podcast. You can search for that there. But I'm going to put a link in the episode. And then, let's see, me and Kayla also streamed Don't Scream last week. That was a fun time. Have you ever played that, Madeline?
I haven't. I need to go watch your full stream because I feel like I caught a section of it and then I was like, this looks fun.
It was a good time. I didn't know what to expect, and apparently they just had an update come out, which I think was going to include a few more situations that can happen. Maybe don't quote me on this, but it might have been a couple of different maps or locations. But more is getting added to the game. One of the devs stopped by and
awesome.
started giving us tidbits on this stuff, and I'm like, man, I hope you can
love
tell us all these
that.
things, but I think they can because they're one of the ones that makes the game. I think it's a small team, but that was fun. So yeah, check that out. The VOD is not on YouTube yet. It is on my to-do list for tomorrow. So hopefully, if you didn't catch it on Twitch, if it's gone, I think it's still there. You'll be able to catch it on YouTube. I'll add it in. Great. I said, hey, that's all. Everything like 2 minutes ago. Sorry, that is now everything. But yeah, we break our shows, Madeline, if you didn't know, into 3 categories. We have easy mode, normal mode, and then expert mode. So easy mode is pretty much us talking about what we've been playing or watching, just casual conversation. And normal mode will go through the news of the week. So we have a lot of stuff actually to talk about today. It was a little light.
We have a lot of topics.
I grabbed a few things. I had to remove a couple of stories, which one I'm really bummed about removing. It was one about the Oregon Trail movie, and I thought that was really funny that there's going to be an Oregon Trail movie at some point. I think I'm going to add that into next week. We had to move some stuff around because we had a lot of news. Unfortunately, we talk about like news we care about and some news that we actually don't like. We got to talk about. So this is some news we don't like that we'll talk about later. But that'll be for normal mode. And then for expert mode is all about Madeline Stanley. And I got some questions for you. We can talk about your time at Kind of Funny. Then I just have some other questions just to get to know you and say that I've officially interviewed you. So I told you, I'm going to bring something in my room whenever I know we're going to be in the vicinity of each other, and you're going to sign it. And I'm going to put it on my shelf.
Ooh,
I want you to sign something
honored.
for me. Yeah, good. But that's going to happen one day. Awesome. Are you ready to get into the easy mode, as we call it?
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
Easy mode's a great place to start.
Since I've been yapping, are you cool with saying or answering, what have you been playing?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've been playing so many things. I've been dabbling, which I'm not usually a dabbler, Jerica. I'm kind of like a pick a game, play it, and complete it or get near completion and then like move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But lately I've been dabbling a lot. So I started Metaphor Refantasio. That's been nice. I've been enjoying that. That I kind of started because I was playing Silent Hill 2 and I was getting too stressed out. So I needed a break from that.
That's understandable. Yes.
And so both of those have been really good. I am Persona 5 Royal was my first like big Atlas JRPG, and I'm enjoying like the differences between that and Metaphor, although there's like so many similarities, but it's been cool. Silent Hill 2, that's my first Silent Hill as well, and enjoying that, although very stressful. And then I just started I barely got into it, but started streaming the Alan Wake 2 Lake House DLC last week, and I'll be finishing that up tomorrow on my stream tomorrow night. So love Alan Wake 2. Excited about that. Those are those are like my things I'm juggling at this moment. Just a couple of different games.
Listen, it's that season where, I'm gonna be honest, like I haven't had a season like this of games where you sort of have to juggle or you're not gonna get to everything or at least be able to
No.
say you've tried something. Cause like, I don't know about you, but like if someone's talking about the hot thing, like I want to at least try it, like get my hands
Hmm.
in there, at least see if it's something that's gonna hook me. Cause I'm like, so many people are enjoying this game. And, I was so excited to have you on the show also because you like scary games. And I love
Yeah.
any scary, like my found footage is like my favorite movie genre, like for horror. And like that's one of the reasons I played Don't Scream last week, because I love that stuff. But I love scary games, and I guess I like being afraid, which
Me too.
it's just a good time. Um, but yeah, like Silent Hill 2, I've also I played probably maybe I played for about an hour. And it is so good. Like I know it's something that I will eventually give the proper time. Because I just enjoyed the first few minutes of I guess it's probably at least 20 minutes of you just walking through the woods at the beginning. Because I've never played Silent Hill either. This is my first.
Hmm.
And I really enjoyed that just creepy, but I tweeted about it because it was sort of relaxing to me. I'm like, this is so beautiful, this creepy woods that I'm just walking through. But I was like, they put a lot of work into that experience.
It's
And
very atmospheric, which like
yeah,
is perfect around this time because I feel like the beginning of that game is the very beginning is not super stressful because you are just kind of walking around. It's kind of like being in a haunted house, right? Where you're just like, oh, something's out
I
there.
know.
Like it's gonna scare
It's
me,
like,
but it's like a fun.
ooh.
And then when you start getting into like the combat, I'm like, okay, now I am actually low key stressed.
Yeah, like they didn't play mess around like quickly once you got into town. I had
Hmm.
things popping up on me and I'm like, ooh, I'm just gonna run because like I don't know how to fight you right now. But yeah, I've hopped in, also played Silent Hill, but I've is now entered my backlog of doom, as we call it here on GK Games. Me and Kayla occasionally will do, usually like every 6 months, we try to do that episode to like talk about all the things we've touched and put down.
Oh,
So it's on
all
my
the sad
It
games.
is, it is very sad. It will make you. It's probably not the best thing for us to do because like some of those games are just gonna stay there, but that one's on there. I also picked up Metaphor, and it sounds like, Jericho, why are you buying all these games and like not playing them? Luckily, I'm in a relationship where this my spouse like is also a big fan of games, so luckily we do the sharing thing on PlayStation where we can share purchases. So I was like,
Yeah, that helps a
she bought
lot.
it, so yeah, it does. So she bought it, and I downloaded it and started playing, and I also um played. I think you said, did you say Persona 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first and only Persona game I've ever played. So I definitely can see where Metaphor's going towards a more what do you call that? I always say medieval, but
Yeah.
fantasy, Game of Thrones. It's not really, but you know that.
I think you covered it. Yeah, medieval fantasy. Yeah.
There you go. And I'm like, cool. I don't think I've seen like Atlas do any kind of game in that kind of environment, that world. So it's something that's super intriguing. My girlfriend's gotten really into it. She's really digging it. But that one's also going to be pushed aside because we just have Dragon Age coming, and that's about to just eat up all my time.
I know that's what's crazy because I'm already juggling all those games, and then Life is Strange came out today,
I know.
and Dragon Age comes out tomorrow, right?
Uh,
Or is it on Halloween?
it's probably
It
tomorrow at
comes,
midnight or something like that.
yeah.
It's
But I'm
very
like,
quick.
what? There's too many games.
There's
Like, how is any one person supposed to play all of these?
I don't know. I don't know how. And I was like, surely, like, I'm gonna love being at home and like talking about and reviewing all these games. Like, obviously, I'm not getting codes early or anything, but I'm like, I'm gonna practice doing reviews on games I want to play. And I'm like, dang, I can't even get through one game. I
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
I'm gonna have to pick a lane. So that's why I've sort of, at the end of the week, like Dragon Age is my jam, and I'm gonna stream that and play it. Um, but yeah, well, cool. I'm glad you've been also playing games and it sounds like you're in the boat like me. So I don't feel as
Hmm.
bad. Uh, I also play a lot of Destiny. I don't know if you've ever played Destiny.
I haven't,
Good,
but
don't do it. Just don't do it. I
stay
hate
away.
it. It's the game I love and hate. Like literally, not. I've been told like that's what every Destiny player will say. Like it's a love-hate relationship. But God, I barely have time to play these great single player experiences. But throw a live service game in there and like, or anything that just requires you to constantly be playing. I ain't got no time. So I had to put some Destiny away. I had to put it away. It almost killed me this summer. There was just so much to do with like the last, like not the last expansion, but the big chapter ending is over for Destiny pretty much. So I sort of put it away after that because I got so burnt out. It was a great time, but I got burned out. But guess what? They had a new dungeon last week, and then they have starting today. It's the Halloween Festival of the Lost. So you can get in there and get some cool like Halloween costumes for your guardian. There's activities and there's certain guns with certain perks you can only get right now. And I just want to cry because like I don't want to do that, but I gotta do that.
I feel like every person who I know who plays like an ongoing game like talks about it as if it's like a drug addiction where they're like you should do it. Actually never do it. It's horrible. It ruins your life. But I can't stop. But I quit. But I'm back.
The FOMO is also just so bad because me and like a close group of friends, we play a lot together. And if I hear them upstairs having fun, because like me and Audrey, she has her gaming set up upstairs. I have mine down here now. And I'll just hear her up there just, having a good time. Like, ooh, I just got this. That's not how she sounds, but like, and I'm like, well, I could be playing Destiny instead of, playing whatever I'm trying to do work with and like write a review and like do something with, And it's just tough because part of it has to go away with Destiny. I also have been playing Destiny though at the same time. I'm just a liar. I'm a hypocrite. I'm always going to play Destiny, but I am going to try to not play as much. But yeah, it is a drug. I'm addicted to Destiny. I do have.
It brings you joy, and it's probably one of the least harmful drugs you could do.
You're right.
I think playing Destiny is like one of the best addictions you could have, honestly.
You're right.
I think you're doing pretty good.
Thank you. I feel a little bit better about it. Oh God. Anyways, anything else you want to add in here?
Nothing. Since you said that Kayla takes the books usually.
Yeah.
I just finished a fun little horror book called Midnight Feast. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
It's about this like tiny little seaside UK town where this rich woman builds like a posh wellness resort.
Yeah.
And the people who live in the town are like not happy about it. And there's this like cult called the Birds that they're maybe going to call upon to like enact some justice. And it takes place from like all these different people's point of view.
Oh, cool.
And like a diary. So it's got all this stuff in it, like weaves together in this mystery. And I really enjoyed it. So I would definitely recommend it if that sounds like up your alley, I would recommend it for sure.
Here's the thing. I don't read as much as I should. But you know what? Here's a commitment, because now you're also recommending books to me, and it does sound like something I'd really be into, because I like reading, like watching documentaries on cults and that sort of thing. Like it's very fascinating. I should make a commitment. I'm not gonna do it yet because I take commitment seriously. But like Kayla's, recommends books to me too, and I just feel like a loser because I never read them. But I will. You have to send me the name of the book so I have it, and I can ask Kayla. She's not in. She also said she was going to try to tune in. Sorry, she's not chiming in and be like, I've read that. But I'll have to tell her. And if I can read one book this year, I think that's a win. Is it doable? Is it a long book?
It's not super long. I would also recommend the audiobook because I was switching between the two. That's something I do a lot where it's like if I'm getting stuck in like the reading, I'll find the same place on the audiobook, listen for a while I'm in the car, and then I'll go back to reading. Like I find that works super well for me. And I recommend that to other people who maybe feel like they can't get into a book, like switch between.
Yeah.
But the audiobook for that's really good too. So yeah, I'll send it to you. I started reading Salem's Lot too because we've been on a Stephen King kick. I did The Shining in review, then we did Doctor Sleep,
Awesome.
and
Yeah.
so I'm like, I need to read Salem's Lot because I haven't read that one before,
Okay.
and so I've been enjoying that too. So
Well, I will, we'll get into this later on too, but like I am looking for that's something I could do while I'm tinkering on the computer or doing whatever. Like haven't actually considered like listening to a book instead of music while I'm at my desk. But that's,
mhm.
that's totally doable. Why haven't I done that? I don't know. No, probably because I'm thinking about Destiny. Because it's
Probably because there's too many things. Like we can't watch all the shows and the movies and play all the games
oh
and listen to all the music and read all the books.
what a time
But
to
I
be
think Kayla's
alive.
here.
Oh my
Kayla, we
god.
talking
She's
books?
here. She's like, ooh, books. What's the book? Mention it again so she'll know.
Oh, I was reading The Midnight Feast. Kayla, have you read it?
Yeah, she also said audiobooks are the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Audiobooks are good for busy people for sure, because it's like a multitasking thing you can do.
Yeah.
2.5 times speed is crazy though, Kayla. I can't
She's
do that.
actually very efficient with her time. And it's something I would expect from her. I hate when I accidentally bump, like when I'm listening to a podcast, I accidentally like bump the speed up or slow down. It sounds like makes everyone sound like they're and then like really
Yes.
fast. That always makes me giggle. Okay. Well, we do have a lot of news bits to cover today. Um, but I could just spend the whole episode, I feel like, just us goofing off and talking about things that we like to try to
We
watch
could.
and read. So, I am gonna, here's the deal. Like, I can read all of these if there's one that's more interesting. You don't even have to read everything I have here. But I'm gonna do the first one so you sort of see what I do here. It's nothing
Perfect.
extraordinary. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. But I did find an article that I really liked. The feature's really cool. I'm not afraid of spiders, but I thought this was very neat that someone thought about this. But for normal mode today, I am starting out with some news about Monster Hunter Wilds, which, funny enough, I downloaded that today and played like 5 minutes. I got through the cutscenes. I'm like, this is badass, but who knows if I'm getting back to it, but I really want to try it. But the article's titled Monster Hunter Wilds Arachnophobia Mode Turns Eight-Legged Creatures into Amusing Blobs. And this is from Eurogamer. Ed Nightingale wrote this. Monster Hunter Wilds has an arachnophobia mode as part of its accessibility offering that turns off or turns spider-like creatures into amusing blobs. I had to look up pictures of this. The forthcoming game in this series is as an open beta coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and Steam. PlayStation Plus members, subscribers get early access. So that's how I started playing it earlier. But right at the start, and I noticed this when I set it up, I was like, hey, there's that feature. You can tweak the settings and turn that on or off. And yeah, if you're scared of spiders, you can turn it off. I thought that was really cool. And apparently it's in other games. I had no idea World of Warcraft actually implemented this. And then, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 apparently turned spiders into something worse. I don't know the answer on that. I didn't click on it, but apparently it's worse. And then Dragon Age Velguard doesn't even bother because there aren't any spiders in that game, so good to know. But how cool. I never considered.
Fun.
I have a friend that's really scared of spiders. I don't know if you have any friends that are also like cannot look at spiders.
I don't think I know anyone that's like unable to look at them. Like obviously no, I don't think there's so many people that like love spiders, right? Like except for my father-in-law who is an entomologist, so he like loves all bugs.
Okay, yeah.
But everyone else I feel like is neutral to negative about spiders, but I don't know anyone who has used this mode. I do know that that game that Bethesda put out as well, Grounded, where it was like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids, they had a arachnophobia mode as well.
Cool.
Because the spiders are like really huge in that game in comparison to you because you're so tiny. And that was freaking a lot of people out.
Yeah. Is that something that you remember like implemented like later or because of the feedback?
I don't know if I think, because I think it came out in beta, so I feel like it happened during the beta, if I remember correctly.
That's cool. Well, I'm also like, I don't like spiders. I can look at them though.
Yeah.
But I seriously have a friend that just cannot see them. like cannot look at them and just like literally would cause them not to be able to play a game. So I've never knew that was a thing till I met somebody, but I love that this feature is there because I'm like, we've had options before to like turn off blood and like all that stuff and like
Mhm.
sort of help with some of that, which I think is great because I have a really high threshold for things. I think it's because I started watching like scary movies at a very young age, and so I've seen a lot of things. But for those that maybe like really want to be part of this world and like give you the option to not get freaked out. So
Yeah, I will never be mad at creating more options for players, for watchers, for listeners, for anything, because if anything, like I just want everything to be able to be enjoyed by anyone who wants to enjoy it. Like this is a net positive
yeah.
overall. Like if it doesn't bother you, don't use it, and if it does bother you, awesome that you have this opportunity to use something and play a game that you might not have played otherwise.
And I think it's great that things are still there, but they're blobs. I wish I could turn
Yeah.
more evil critters into blobs in more games. I need that option.
Yeah.
The next article I pulled is actually because I know you have some connection to it because you've played
I
it.
do.
So I'm gonna read through this one, and I'd love to hear like your impressions of this story. Um, in terms of classic survival horror, just talking about how it's still alive, scary, Fear the Spotlight and the Silent Hill 2 remake show both like two different ways of updating the genre for modern platforms. This is from Andrew Webster at The Verge. More than most genres, survival horror feels rooted in time. It started with the methodical Resident Evil on the original PlayStation and is defined in part by limitation like slow pace, grimy visuals, scant resources. Never heard the word scant. Gonna start using that. To help amplify the scares. Many of those elements stem from early awkward days of 3D gaming, whether it was Resident Evil's chunky controls, which made zombie chases even more terrifying, or Silent Hill's just the fog. Um, a few decades later, developers are still finding ways to bring those important elements of those games, namely the mood and the scares, to modern horror without feeling dated. The most obvious way to keep doing this style and tone of classic survivor horror while updating the gameplay to be more approachable. The most recent example of this is Fear the Spotlight, the first release from the horror movie studio Blumhouse, Blumhouse's new gaming label. Much like Crow Country and Signalis, I do not know how you say that. It's a game that
I think
looks
you
like,
had it right the first time.
okay, Signalis?
Hmm.
Oh, pinky in the air, I got it. It's a game that looks like it's ripped right out of 1998. The visuals are very blocky, the textures are low res. It gives the experience of like a grimy feel, which also is just like the right note for horror. Fear the Spotlight is developed by two people at the team at Cozy Pal Games, or Cozy Game Pals, sorry. And it starts simple enough, just two friends breaking into their high school to perform a seance in the library, just another day.
Just
But
another
just
day in
another
high
day, another
school.
dollar, another ghost. Course things go bad, and they get pulled into the nightmare realm that connects both of them to their own past and dark mystery that school has been hiding for decades. It's a part of a coming of age story. Also, really enjoy that romance and part true crime. But it's all rendered in that crunchy, like PlayStation style era horror, which lends us to put us on edge a little bit. But yeah, I wanted to share this because like I remember seeing when Crow Country came out, and I watched a few people play that, and I'm like, I love how this looks like a PlayStation 1 game. It looks so cool. I love that there's still games being made that have that look and feel but can be modernized and still enjoyed.
Hmm.
And I saw that you actually started playing Fear the Spotlight.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I definitely love this era of like the indie horror going back to the 90s vibe. There's like a couple of reasons I really like it. One, I feel like there is this idea that like the we've kind of hit like maximum on graphics, right? Like we're not getting any better, and I don't think sometimes that's the most important part of the game. Like what you achieve with graphics, you lose in vibe sometimes. I think we kind of saw that when they did the initial Silent Hill remaster and they got rid of all the fog, and people were like, "No, the fog was
Yeah.
like what made this
Why
what
would
it
you do
is."
that? Yeah.
And they're like, well, we don't need it anymore. Like we can render all this stuff. And it's like that's not necessarily the most important part is like graphic fidelity. I think style is extremely important to games, and I think that style does resonate with a whole lot of people whose first horror game was a PS1 classic, whether that be Resident Evil or Silent Hill or something else. Um, but I really loved what the Cozy Game Pals did with Fear the Spotlight, because I feel like it is the perfect combination of like a more modern sensibility of a game combined with that retro aesthetic and style gameplay. Personally too, as someone who loves horror but does get stressed or scared easily, I also feel like the sort of lower res like graphics are a little less scary. So like if you are someone who is very scared easily and is playing Silent Hill 2 and is like, absolutely these things are too intense, like they look too realistic, it's too bloody, like one of these games like Crow Country or like Fear the Spotlight is such a nice like gateway point into playing horror games, because I feel like it's still spooky but it feels like a little less threatening because it's not so realistic, you know?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like I just I never thought I would be attracted to a game that looks old or looks like,
Hmm.
something that's on a PlayStation. Um, but I know this is not like a scary game, but something that I gave a game that I really gave a few chances with and decided, oh my God, I love this is Sea of Stars, which I know is a completely different type of game. But the same thing where indie studios are able to not reinvent the wheel, but use some of the style from these older titles and like modernize them enough. So like whether it is gameplay, story, how you can interact with different things in the environment, like everything that's been updated but can still look and have that feel is something I just really cherish and like really glad that there's indie studios out there that really care about that kind of experience. Sea of Stars was like literally my game from last year. That's my game of the year, like from last year.
I need to play that. I haven't gotten a chance to yet.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. And that's sort of like it just made me think about that because that at first glance, like I'm like I'm not gonna play that. I can respect it, and I'm glad it exists. It's all pixelated, looks cute. Um, and I'm not really like I always say this. I'm not a big turn-based gal, but then like every turn-based game I play, I start really loving. So I need to quit. I need to quit
Yeah.
saying that. For some reason it turns me off at first. It doesn't sell me on the experience. But Sea of Stars is one of those games that like they reinvent how you think of a turn-based game. And Kayla actually was one of the ones that started playing and like got me to really dive into it. Her and another one of my friends, Chad. Um, and I think that's just really, I'm just glad they exist. I'm glad those games exist, and I'm glad those studios are like really pushing the envelope for not only preserving that kind of style, but like also evolving it. I think it's really cool. But Crow Country and then Fear the Spotlight is on my list. I'm not going to start them because they do not deserve my backlog of doom. I'm not going to do that to them. I'm not going to do that to them.
You gotta wait till you have your full attention.
Yeah. And I was trying.
I also,
Oh, I didn't mean
oh,
to
go
cut
ahead.
you off. You know how I lied to you? Well, not intentionally. Like, I was like, I'm going to have your stream playing in the background, but then it got lost. So, like, by the way, I don't have that playing. I have some gameplay, and if you keep talking, I can pull that up.
Oh, sure.
Because I wanted people to see the gameplay, but it disappeared. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you.
No, I was actually going to talk more about Fear the Spotlight, because I
Do
think
it.
one of the other cool things that I'm enjoying is like recently, and I talked about this, I feel like on a games cast when I was on Kind of Funny, which is that I've hit the point where we're talking about playing so many different games all the time. I really love these shorter experiences. I think
Hmm.
there's so much room for a smaller gaming experience. I obviously understand like your dollar only goes so far and you want to get a lot of bang for your buck. So I totally understand that. However, like as someone who doesn't have a lot of free time and wants to play good experiences, like I loved the length of Fear the Spotlight and how much game there was there, how much care that was put into it. The fact that it was only made by two people and you got this really well thought out, um, fun to play, cool vibe, atmospheric story. And I felt so satisfied when I finished it, where I was like, yes, like this is everything I wanted from an indie horror game. And I'm so glad they had actually, I guess, previously released the game. It was out for a couple weeks, and then Blumhouse reached out to them and told them about their label or imprint, I guess, whatever you would call it. And they were pulled it back off, like were able to add some more content to it, do some different things. And I think that was I'm so glad that happened, because I think this is a really special game. And I would encourage anybody, even if you're not like a big horror person, to play, because it is also a coming of age story. There is like these two girls, and you're kind of figuring out what their relationship is with each other, and you're solving a mystery, and it is scary, but it's like I said, I think it all comes together in this like really nice introductory horror package that I think was such a fun experience to play. And to have like a 3 or 4 hour game that you're able to just kind of like do it and experience the whole story, I think is really special, and something that I would love to see more small horror experiences like that.
Yeah, I finally got the gameplay up and running, so it's perfectly timed. Excellent work.
Yay!
But yeah, I agree. Like I love that it's a speaking, your dollar going so far. Have I go back and forth on, how much should I pay for this game? How long is it? Is it worth my money? And I've told lots of folks, like, you spend $70 on, I'm thinking like the last game that had so like almost, it had way too much, but you got your money's worth, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or
Mhm.
one of those big open world games where there's literally endless missions, Horizon, that sort of thing. You definitely get your money's worth with those games, obviously, but there is a space for games like this that I really, and sometimes I even think, even for the games I spent so much money on, I'm like, that's too long.
Mhm.
It just depends. Like, I know I'm starting to ramble, but I have friends that play games, like, have like 2 games they play, and that's all they play. I know I'm starting to sound like, well, Jerica, all you do is play Destiny, but that's not the case. Okay, it's not the case. But I do have a friend that like literally just plays Red Dead Redemption, and I'm gonna have her on here one day because I really want to interview her and just want to hear about her adventure. Because every time I hop online, like, she's playing Red Dead Redemption. So definitely getting her money's worth for that game. But I don't know, for folks like us, like, I really love when I hear that a game is only 5 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours lately. Like, it just makes my heart sing when the game's a little
Mhm.
shorter. So I don't know, like, this is another topic for another time, and I'm totally off. I'm totally off topic, but just where does it, like, 2 people made this game. I still can't believe just 2 people made this kind of
Mhm.
game and for this length. Um, where games can go, like, with these huge studios and these huge budgets where they can maybe pull back a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. But like, I love that this kind of experience exists, to your point. And yeah, you telling me how long it is. Like, I didn't realize, the length of the game. That sold me on it more than anything. Like, cause
Right.
I'm like, cool, this is something I can actually take on and finish, maybe even before Dragon Age comes out this year, or this week. Sorry, this year. Where are we living? It's this week. Oh my
It's
God.
both. It's both.
Um, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I'm glad you've played it, because I was really I saw that and I was like, I'm definitely gonna talk to her about this, because I saw a Ouija board and I'm sold. So
Yeah, it's so fun. And I would also say, like, I said 3 to 4 hours. That might be on the generous side, because I'm a slow gamer. I'm like walking around, like looking at everything, reading every single
that's
thing,
awesome.
reading everything
Yeah.
multiple times. So I feel like someone who is speedier could even finish it faster. I don't know. Everyone has their different speeds. I know I'm slow.
I will
Anytime I look up like the length of a game, of a campaign, I'm always like, okay, add a couple hours onto that for me.
say, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, put me into that category too, because like, I love when a game it's so I I don't know whatever the tutorial, or if your companion's like, maybe look over there. That's me. And my companion's
Mhm.
always reminding me, hey, maybe you should check out that, because I've spent too much, or either I am lost or
Yeah.
I'm just looking at stuff.
Yeah, they're always like, "Hey, do you want to get back to the main mission?"
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
"No, I'm looking at this
no.
rock.
I'm looking,
Excuse
it's so
you."
pretty. Look at this grass. This game looks so pretty. Or I'm just lost and I don't know what to do next. So it's either that or that. Um, well, cool. Also, before the show, I asked you, hey, because I was trying to figure out what news things to pick for this. I was like, hey, you care about BioWare or Mass Effect? And of course, you said you did. So I decided to add in this little
Yeah.
tweet that we have, with Dragon Age coming out. I am one of those sickos too that's also asking, now that Dragon Age is still not out, but it's going to be out in 3 days, what about Mass Effect? That's also me, because I'm a sicko. But a few people have asked Michael Gamble a few questions, and he responded to those. Madeline, before we dive into this, like, how deep do you get into Mass Effect? Like, how much are you? Is it one of your favorite games? You played all of them once or twice?
So I didn't play it at the time that they came out, but when the
Same.
Legendary Edition came
Yeah.
out, I played all of them, and I literally platinumed the first two, and then I couldn't platinum the third because arena where you have to fight versions of yourself, I could never win that, and that's my last trophy for the for the platinum the third game. But that is where I'm at. Like, I loved the Mass Effect games so much that I did everything I could do
Yeah.
in every single one. I really enjoyed it. It's literally probably one of the reasons that I will play Dragon Age, just because I did enjoy the Legendary Edition so much. But I definitely am more of like a space person than a fantasy person. So it's been interesting, like, seeing people's reviews and opinions of Dragon Age, because it's definitely a different vibe than I would normally go for, I think.
Yeah. I
Did you play Andromeda is my question, because
okay.
I tried playing Andromeda and I couldn't get into it.
Oh my God. Okay. I have a hot take at the end of this too that I won't spend too much time on. But yeah, I played Andromeda. It sucked because I was just so excited for it. And it wasn't a bad game. It was just one of those games. They were running out of games that they could sort of fumble. But that was a game that got fumbled a little bit and like went into development hell. And when it launched, characters looked weird. Eyes were very dead looking. It was very strange. And the story was fine, but yeah, it just didn't compare to the original trilogy. And it wasn't even the fact they had a brand new cast of characters either. Like the companionship was just not the same as they had in the trilogy. Um, but yeah, like I'm Mass Effect one is probably like is in my top 5 games of all time. I need to sort of update that list because I really don't know like what should take number one. There's always a few that I'm like, I don't know if I could pick. But Mass Effect 1's definitely in there. Like the whole trilogy is just a great time. And I don't know, like I've also never been a huge fantasy s. Like I am also a big space gal. Like I'd rather go to space than hang out in a castle. And I played a few Dragon Age games. I think Origins I played a long time ago, and then I tried to get through Inquisition. And I like the characters and I like the story. I like the gameplay even. But there were just, and sort of to Andromeda's detriment, like little bit like they just tried to do more with it and where they should have stayed more linear, which is what
Mhm.
they're doing with Veilguard, so I hear. Not as many open areas and quests, and like I just remember in Inquisition, like I just couldn't. It was so hard just to leave the first area. You'll look it up, the hinterlands. People talk about that area a lot, and you just die there because there's literally endless things to do, and I don't know how to really progress the story. But yeah, like those were just a couple, and that's still one I think for the year. Like I think it came out in 2014. It won Game of the Year, which is still like
Mhm.
Inquisition was a great game. They tried to do too much, and that's what I've been wanting BioWare just to stop doing too much. Y'all quit trying to get them to do extra stuff that seems to be the cash grabs. Like just make a good story with characters that I care about and good gameplay. Like that's all I need. So I'm really excited to see like where Veilguard goes. But with the
Mhm.
last, disappointment with Mass Effect with Andromeda, like I won't forget it happened because I'm glad it happened because I think that sort of has shifted, that and Anthem has sort of shifted BioWare's priorities, and maybe
Yeah,
EA's like, I don't know
totally.
how all that works. I'm glad they happened so we could get maybe these games again. But like I said, I'm a sicko. Dragon Age is not even out yet, but I want to know more about the next Mass Effect game. So Michael Gamble was actually on Twitter and stated like, hey, lots of people are asking me about Mass Effect now that Veilguard reviews are out and the release date's so close. Both are from the studio, BioWare. but Mass Effect is Mass Effect. How you bring a sci-fi RPG to life is different than any other games or IPs and has to have different types of love. Specifically, someone asked, please don't, I'm not going to, this is just a response. Please don't Pixar Mass Effect like you guys did with Dragon Age. And Mike Gamble responded, I'm not sure if I agree with the Pixar thing, but Mass Effect is photorealistic and will always be long as I'm running it. And regarding tone questions, Mass Effect will remain having the mature tone of the original trilogy. And at that point, he was like, that's all I'm going to say for now. Quit asking me stuff.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Please don't talk about it.
In fact, I probably shouldn't have brought it up.
And also, like, yeah, I don't know about you. Like, when I first saw the trailer for Veilguard, I was like, oh, this is a different look for them, because it's always been, both games have been photorealistic and grounded in reality a lot. I like the stylized look of Dragon Age. I think it's going to help it a lot, and it makes a lot of sense. I never, in my, maybe your thoughts were different, but I actually never considered that a concern of for the next Mass Effect game. I was never concerned that, oh, they're going to also do this stylized look for Mass Effect. I was like, it never occurred to me, because I'm like, they can't do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Tonally, that just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, it is interesting because I'm not super well versed on the Dragon Age series. So I imagine there might be some, like, hardcore Dragon Age fans who are like, yeah, that wasn't the tone of Dragon Age either, and then it changed a lot. I'm not sure if that's true because I don't have experience with it. But yeah, I feel like it doesn't really make sense for how kind of gritty and grounded Mass Effect is, and kind of what its inspirations are versus what I think maybe some more of the Dragon Age inspirations are. Yeah,
totally agree. I just never thought that, I don't know, I just didn't see that being a correlation to Mass Effect, just because of the type of world it builds, and obviously with space and the characters and stuff. Like, literally, y'all, we had a trailer that showcased what the next game is. Like, I know it's a trailer, but usually their trailers match with what the environments and sort of feel and style of the game's gonna be. But needless to say, people still were concerned. So they asked him, and he was like, no, you have nothing to worry about. But not to say, like, that's a bad move for Dragon Age. I know I'm not, like, the most diehard Dragon Age fan, but I think the look and that stylized approach, like, fits perfectly. Like, I love how it looks, and I love that approach. And here again, I'm about to ramble again. Have you watched Arcane? I don't even care about League of Legends, but have you watched Arcane?
Yes.
Oh God, do you like it?
I loved it.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. And if you were going to say, it was fine, I was going to be like, all right, this call's over.
Arcane made me go, should I play League of Legends? And I say this to my husband. He goes, you should absolutely not play League of Legends.
No, don't.
It's nothing like this. And I was like, okay, just checking.
But yeah, like, the reason I bring that up, because, like, the style of Arcane sort of reminds me, like, not the same style, but, more of a artistic vision on realism. Like, it's real, but it's, it's almost like I'm not an artist, so correct me, or if you have better words for this, Madeline, you definitely can chime in. But, the stylized look, they have their own style to it. And that's sort of like, I like when they can make reality their own.
Yeah, it has, like, a very specific visual identity.
Yeah.
That you look at Arcane and you said, that's what Arcane looks like. It's a very stark
Nothing else looks
difference.
Like it. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's cool. But yeah, I'm so ready for season 2. It comes out like a couple weeks also.
Soon.
Yeah. Actually, not this Saturday, but the next. So we'll have to connect on that too. I want to hear your thoughts for the next episodes. But yeah, don't play League of Legends because of the show. It's definitely not the same experience. It's a good game, but it's not the type of, not what you would expect.
No.
Oh God. We are still going way over time, but I'm not going to read all of this, but, like, the news that we weren't so excited to talk about, unfortunately, before we get into questions for Madeline, Sony has decided to shut down the Concord developer, Firewatch Studios. No relaunch is coming, and I'm literally pulling from an article from Paul Tassi. He writes a lot about Destiny, so I like reading his stuff. So I'm going to pull up this article from him. Sony will close down Firewalk Studios, a developer of the now offline Concord hero shooter that was potentially preparing to be a free-to-play relaunch. That's no longer going to happen. Firewalk will dissolve, and between and break down between layoffs and who may move elsewhere inside of Sony. That's still unclear. Herman Hulse said in a message to staff, and this is via The Verge, "We have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options." He also said, like, after much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication. The launch of Concord will remain one of the largest video game disasters of all time. This is back to Paul Tassi's article. A title that took years and potentially hundreds of millions of dollars to develop and just shut down 2 weeks after launch to a abysmally, I can't say that word, abysmally low player count. I'm also, from the South. I know they didn't teach me that word. So while the shutdown of the game shortly after launch seemed to leave at least some room open for potential relaunch down the line, like a free-to-play to remove the $40 barrier to entry. If you've been paying attention to the trajectory of the game, it was pretty clear that there was no point to even do that. The price may have been ill-advised. The free beta shortly before launch barely attracted 2,000 players on Steam. And at launch, it peaked under 700 when even the fellow mega disaster Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had only 13,000. Sales estimates were only at 25,000 copies, and Sony had to refund all of those. This is just really unfortunate, and I thought surely, with how much has been invested in this work, and I don't know, did you play Concord at all?
I did not play it, but I'm not a big, like I said, I'm not a big multiplayer game person. So it was honestly from the beginning, I was like, it seems like they're putting out so many multiplayer games. Like one of these is not going to be successful. There's only so much time for people to play. We're already talking about how spread thin we are with the games that we have, and adding so many multiplayer games to the mix. Yeah,
I still remember, I can't really remember exactly how long ago it was, but whenever Sony announced hey, we're gonna make I feel like it was in the double digits, live service, online multiplayer games, and I was for a moment I was like, oh my god, that sounds like for me, someone that doesn't know how to run anything video games related in a business sense, I have no idea, but that sounded like a bad idea to me, and a lot of other people agreed. But just to know, this specific game, this is just my opinion, and obviously I'm not an expert, but it just really did not get the support it needed to reach people and tell, one of my close friends, big gamer, we've been talking about video games for over 10 years together. We're in a group chat. I have a couple of video game chats. And this, one of my friends was in that, and I guess when the first announcement got that came out that's saying, hey, we're gonna remove the game, you can't play it anymore. When that got announced, he was like, I didn't even know what Concord was, and the game was already removed from the store, and he didn't even know what the game was, and he's a pretty big gamer, so I don't know, I'm pretty close to PlayStation news, so I knew about it, but that's the only reason I knew about it. But yeah, I just don't think it got the support it needed. And my girlfriend actually got really into it. She played the beta. I watched her play. I tried to play a little bit, but I just ultimately just didn't have time to get great. So I was like, I'm gonna put this down. I'm not good. But watching her play, the game is beautiful. The game looked like if they didn't have everything. Games like that, you have to there's so many different player or character types, and everything has to get leveled out, so one thing's not stronger than the other. But gameplay was solid. It wasn't crashing. The art, the character design, the game design itself, you can tell this thing did take a lot of money to make. But yeah, I just don't think it got what it needed to sustain itself, and I don't know if it was the right move to put that much into it. I'm like, whose idea and plan was that? This game's been worked on for years. I don't know.
I think that's the frustrating thing for me being someone on the outside, being fully transparent, like I'm not saying I know how these video game companies work. I think Jerica said the same thing, but being someone on the outside, it's extremely frustrating to see a bunch of really talented people make something, but video games like this have become extremely unsustainable. Like, you have been working on it for so many years that it's impossible to adapt or change lanes or adapt to different changes in the video game market or different changes in audiences' taste, which is like when they started on this, there were a lot of people who were like um very present and overzealous in the multiplayer market, and that audience has waned since then. But when you have such a long development cycle, it makes it impossible to adapt and put different resources in different places. And it's really disappointing. Also, I think when I look at Sony leadership and all video game development leadership who never take responsibility for making these decisions, and it always falls onto the people who are making the games who don't have the autonomy to make these decisions. They're doing the best they can, making these great graphics like you're talking about, making things work, and the people who are driving the bus off a cliff
Yeah.
and then wondering why is everything in flames? And those people don't ever see any sort of culpability for those things. But all of the people who were doing their best and doing their work, lose their jobs, lose their livelihoods. And I think we've hit this point where it just something has to change.
Yep.
And not to bring too much of like a socio-political bent to
No,
it, but
bring
like,
it.
these heads of studios are making way too much money and doing way too little work for what's happening here. And that has to change for this to become a sustainable thing. Like, we're seeing it not just with Concord. Obviously, Concord's the worst example or the best example, depending on how you're phrasing that. But it's just not, it doesn't work this way. We're seeing it over and over again. Same thing with Justice Killed the Justice League. Like, it didn't fail as spectacularly, but they had the same issue where people within the company were saying, we don't want to do this. We want to work on something else. Like, we're not allowed to make changes. And the leadership is still there, but a lot of the people who worked in those dev cycles have lost their jobs since then. And I just think that's like honestly criminal.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think if I could make these decisions with what I know. I don't know, like, I think the wrong the wrong focuses are being focused upon, if that makes sense. That was
Right.
pretty basic what I just said, but like, I don't know, like, I look at Concord, I'm like, yeah, it was such a beautiful game and really a lot of talented folks, but why put all your eggs in that basket when I barely have time? A big gamer. I'm a gamer. I like playing all types of games, but I'm only going to have time to play Destiny. Like, one person
Right.
only has time to dedicate to one of these games realistically, for real. And like, where I'm going to keep coming back week to week, I have no kids. Like, now I have a part-time job and I'm still having trouble playing Destiny weekly. So like, you know, I even think, like, I think a lot about Destiny too, and I won't keep going on this. Like, you would think Destiny's like super duper successful, and because like it's been around for so long and it's sustained itself and all this stuff, but no, like, just, you've read, like, they've been hit with tons of layoffs and a lot of mismanagement, and I don't even know where that situation's gonna end up. I really don't know. I'm surprised that Final Shape was as good as it was and had what we had, like, because just based on how it felt in the studio, based on what I was reading, it just sounded like it was just no one really knew what was going on. So even the games that you would think have it figured out, those studios, like, they don't have it figured out. I just don't think that the right move is the cash grab at the, and it's not a small time frame, but like, you look at, like, I guess the popular titles like Fortnite and like Call of Duty, and like, how do we keep being that game every year or all the time? And I think it's just, I'm so glad, Madeline, that The Last of Us online game, that would have been really cool, but I'm just glad that didn't happen. Like, I'm glad that got pushed out of the side, because like, It's one of my favorite games. I think it would have been really cool. I also want them to make a farm sim. On a funny note, I would think Naughty Dog should. Me and Kayla talked about this all the time. I want a zombie cottage core farm sim from Naughty Dog.
I believe Blumhouse is putting a game out like that.
Oh, cool.
Where it's a farm
Good.
sim. It's a horror farm sim. So you just need to wait a little bit longer.
I'll do it. I'm gonna check it out. But yeah, like certain studios, like I mean, we were even talking about with BioWare, like I just don't know, like, do I need to put my bows in here to keep these decision makers away and like speak to, as a player, what I'm gonna buy? I don't know, but it sucks. It's so I think unfortunately these things just have to keep happening over, and it seems like it just keeps happening over and over and over. I don't know when it's gonna stop, but it is sad. And even for someone like me, that's like, I'm not wanting to go in the game development, but like this industry is, I'm attracted to it. Like it's scary even for me. Like, why am I even trying? Nothing's figured out. Why would I even do this?
Yeah.
I think it's the same for everybody that's like for you and even the people that are making the games. Like we just love it and we want to love it, but it's just like, the business side of it just sucks.
With anything that's in the arts, I think it's really scary to tie art and commerce together, because I think that sometimes those interests cross, right? Where like something that's artistically viable and something that people are really passionate about make is also economically viable. I think we've seen that multiple times. But I don't think those two paths always cross. Like one thing I will always bring up to people, which is like Alan Wake 2 is like a critical success. It's not a huge commercial success, unfortunately, like when you look at the numbers, and like it's only through a lot of different avenues that they're able to afford to make a game like that. But it is extremely artistically important and has a lot of interesting things to say. I haven't finished The Lake House yet, but I've been reading a lot about it and about how it has a lot of commentary on AI art and how voidless and spiritless and lacking of emotional reality that AI is there. And I think until we find a way that we can subsidize art in a way that's not completely dependent on just what makes the most money, we're going to continue to see this, because I think artists are going to get burnt out. They're going to make something they're passionate about. It's not going to sell well. And then they're basically told that their art is not valuable enough to keep making. And I don't like to see that. And I don't want that to be the eventuality, but I think that's true, especially in video games, just because they're so expensive and time consuming to make. But it's true across all things. Like we're seeing a lot of diminishing musicians and photographers, speaking for myself, and authors. And I think we have more resources than ever, but the margins are so tight now because everything has to be the biggest, best success. Like every game has to be Fortnite, unless then it's a failure. And we just saw that with Prince of Persia and Ubisoft. They said, "Oh, it's not good enough," despite the fact that it was critically seen well and it made some money. Like that's not enough. And I think we need to get out of that.
Yeah. Like, what is mindset enough? Yeah. Like what? How can you? What's the money that needs to be spent to support these folks to make the best game within their budget and actually like stick to that? And like, I don't know, it doesn't, and I think to our point earlier in the episode, like the games don't have to be super long and they don't have to have these cash grabs. Like just make a shorter games. If that needs to be the change, like I am fine with that. And I might ruffle some feathers and say this too, but like, I know a lot of people don't agree with this and I wouldn't be excited about it, but also like, until they can figure out how to make sure people are getting paid the right amount, and I don't know how to really solve that. I'm just like, hey, these people are really uber talented. I hope they're getting paid well. But also like if we need to, like, should games be more money? Like I don't know. Like I'm at the point where I'm like, I spent, I go to the movies for, I feel like it's almost $40 for me and my girlfriend to go to the movies. That's almost the cost of a game, but I just put in 60 hours of this game. I watch multiple movies at this point. Not saying a game needs to be that much, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know the solve either. I still feel hopeful that eventually maybe this will figure out because of the amount of situations like this that keep occurring, to where the talent just will not give up, but there won't be as much. So it might be forced to get smaller. I don't know.
Well, and I think the most important thing, like, obviously there needs to be a systemic change. We as individuals who are just game enjoyers and on the outskirts of the gaming industry, I think the most we can do is support other small gaming industry people. Like, if you're watching this right now, subscribe to JK Games Podcast. Like, this matters. It's just, $6, and you're enjoying this lovely podcast. Like, this takes time to make. It's important. The things that everyone does in this community are important, and like, the best thing you can do is put your money where your mouth is and support small people. Like, if you're okay giving a mega corporation like Amazon, which I guess Twitch kind of goes to Amazon too, but these big game companies, $70, I think, it's nice to give the smaller people a little contribution as well, because I think that's the best we can do, is support each other. If we're all just trying to make art in this crazy capitalistic world.
And just computers are trying to run the planet, Bring it on, computer. I'll fight you to the end of time. Well, thanks. Thanks for going on that. It's a tougher topic and not one that's easy to have, especially, like I said, once again, I'm like no expert, but I like to hear other folks' opinions on it. And I really hope that maybe, I'm not going to say it because this is definitely not over. Just like, man, I'm so tired of hearing about it. Hear the sucky stories. Well, on a lighter note, I wanted to talk to you about like, hey, obviously those things could happen. But on the flip side, hey, have you ever thought about jumping into your passions and like following through being a content creator? It's not for the faint of heart. And, sometimes it can be a little bit scary, and sometimes you can be like me and still like not know what the hell you're doing. But I was really excited and happy to have Madeline on the show this week to just talk about her experience with Kind of Funny a couple weeks ago now, maybe 3. We can't really remember time. What is time?
What is time? It's a flat circle.
It is. But I was really excited to have you on to ask you some questions and just like how that went and get your perspective on things. And, for me personally, like, by the way, this is expert mode now. Sorry. Very long normal mode this week. For me, like, this is my second week, and, I've been in a career for a long time now, where I just never considered doing this, like, seriously. Like, it was always just like a side gig that I enjoyed doing in my very minimal spare time if I wasn't playing Destiny. That's a joke. I had other things going on. But yeah, I got really lucky at a point now that I can at least take, about a year to like try to do something like this and get some practice and meet folks like you and learn about game development and how can, a show like us, like here at JK Games, can like shine a light on some of those topics we talked about and like learn from it. And, and that's nerve-wracking for me because like I've never done anything like this professionally. It's always been a hobby, but now I'm wanting to take it a little bit more seriously and try to get good. But it can be daunting.
So exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
And daunting.
It is
exciting and daunting for sure.
And it's the combination of those that don't feel too bad. So I've done the right things to get myself in the place to do it. But it is scary. And I'm still, even in week 2, I don't really have all the answers and I don't have a game plan yet. I'm getting closer to one, and I'm starting to learn a flow now to where I'm working on things, but also I get in, like, literally today I spent all day doing stuff, like not just for this show, but other things too. But I'm like, oh my God, I just spent all day doing this. I see how people start working way too much and getting addicted to the grind. Cause like there's no one now to tell me to stop. And I know for you, you do photography. I want to hear more about that. And like it sounds like you are also your own boss. Is that correct?
I have a lot of things going on.
Okay, cool.
I am definitely in I am a little bit of a workaholic. I am too, but I think it comes from a lot of different things. Like I have a lot of different passions and I also am very much like very practical as well. So yeah, I do my own photography, so I do portraits and weddings and a lot of like influencer stuff in LA. I do a lot of fashion as well. I work pretty consistently with a brand called Tuck Shoes. And they make very cool like alternative shoes and they're very comfortable too. So
Cool.
I love that. But then I also have like the more corporate side of what I'm doing, which I'm doing a lot of photo editing for corporate clients, and that keeps me very busy as well. And then I also, yeah, do Twitch streaming. And
Just throw
so
that in the mix
I'm
too.
just throw it in the mix. And then somewhere in between all of those things, I try to like have a life where I go take boxing classes and see my friends and all of those things. So it can be a lot sometimes. It feels very overwhelming, but also I don't know, yeah, I just have a lot of I think it's something that I was questioning a lot while I was there at Kind of Funny, which is just that like how do you and I'm curious like your opinion on this, like how do you focus in on what you want to do if you want to do so many things? I feel like sometimes like everything is calling to me. Like I love photography and I love Twitch streaming and video games, and constantly feel pulled in multiple directions and feel like I'm almost like at a disservice to myself trying to do everything, but I also love everything. So I don't know how you feel. Like, do you feel like it's always been your goal with JK Games and just like life, like to get to this point, which is really awesome, by the way. Like, congratulations. Even if you're stressed and anxious and also excited, it's still like really awesome. So,
Yeah, I always feel like I'm about
but
to
yeah, how
just
do you
poop my
feel about it?
I'm gonna poop my pants most of the time. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Um, but like to that, it's hard to pick a lane, and like I do have I've been told like I'm like a bag of marbles a few times because I like to do a lot of things, and I think I
Hmm.
don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. Um, but I remember reading like an article, and I'm trying to remember. It was a comic book artist, and I don't want to quote because I don't know if it was them or not. But basically, um, I don't draw. I can doodle. I do really good in Canva, but I know creativity in that aspect is very challenging, and I couldn't imagine just drawing something from memory. Um, and even for artists that do like comics or animation and that sort of thing, like every page is not going to be, and I think this is good. They were sharing this like tip because I think it's good for anybody, whatever you're doing, it matters. And it's like you're never going to have 100% of your work be like, or your whatever the page you're working on is never going to be 100% perfect. Like there's going to be pages that are 70% perfect. There's going to be pages that are 55% perfect. And like, it's just the comfort that you have. Like, where do you want your average greatness to
Yeah.
be? And that's sort of what I've been doing probably the last couple of years with JK Games is like, I know we're not the best podcast. Like literally I know it's just my second week, but we did not start on time. And I'm not being hard on myself. And you're like, oh, you're going to be hard on yourself. Like, but no, that's like something I want to get better. I want to be above 50% great with that. Um, so with having a lot of different things that you want to be great at, like you're going to have to, there's something that has to go because you gotta,
Mhm.
and where do you want to be? Like, how good do you want to be at said thing? And I think I had to get okay with saying, I'm not 70% here. Like I'm definitely going to be at the 60% for a minute until I can move something else around. And that's how it was because I had a full-time job and, very, it just so it took a lot from me. So when I got home, like I barely had energy to like play the game. Like I just wanted to rest and like turn off my brain. So for me, like I knew eventually, like if I wanted to get any better with specifically, and I had to identify what do I want to do? Like what's the thing about this that I enjoy the most? And I'm going to be honest, like I don't like streaming a lot, like because it's just maybe it's something I'll start to like now that I have some
Mm-hmm.
time to try. But right now I know like that's not the thing I enjoy most. But I think what we're doing right now is the thing I enjoy most. Like I like
Right.
talking to people and just, you know, what is it? Cutting a rug, but that's dancing. Shooting the shit. There we go. That's dancing.
Yeah.
And just talking about games, like, and, reading about the news and games. Like, I love that so much, and just reviewing games. It's a passion, and hopefully, maybe convincing someone that wasn't going to play it because I liked it. I want them to be able to enjoy something I enjoyed and have that. So, yeah, focusing in on what you enjoy doing the most, and then, how good do you want to be at the said thing. You're never going to be perfect at it, but if you're doing multiple things, you're going to have some give and take, and you have to be okay with not being perfect at it. And I know like no one's perfect, obviously, but some of us want to get to that 90%, and that's still a challenge. So did that make sense? I rambled there. Okay.
Yeah, totally. No,
I
it
started
was
rambling. That's
interesting.
also something I'm working on, but um, yeah, it was an excellent question. But I'm supposed to be interviewing you, so I'm going to flip a question back to you.
I flipped it
You're a
right
good
around on you.
conversationalist. So going back to, we are both big kind of funny fans. I, followed you because I just
Mhm.
kept hearing your name. Like I'm a big listener. I'm starting to be a trog. Is that right? I'm trying to be in the
Yeah,
chat
join the
more, and I want to
trogs.
be a trog.
Be in the
But
chat.
I'm prior to being home more and being able to listen, I was definitely just listening in the car on my way to work all the time. But I just hear Madeline Stanley all the time, like with questions, commentary, and I was like, this chick sounds cool. Let me look her up on Twitter, and that's how I started following you. And then I met you at the Game Awards because there was like a meetup, and it was just really cool to say hello to you in real life.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we're kind of funny friends and best friends, and a big fan. But obviously, I have some questions to ask you about your week that you got to spend with them. And my first question for you would be, hey, you got told, hey, you're gonna be joining them and be the up and comer. Like, what were your thoughts and expectations like leading up to you doing the thing for a week with them?
Yeah, so I found out that I was the up and comer in August, and then I didn't actually go till October. So I had like a very long time
Dang.
to think about it, and I feel like I went through all of these like ups and downs, right? Like the first being like super excited, and then immediately being like, there's a mistake, like why me sort of thing. Um and then I really struggled with like the expectations too, because I feel like with a lot of things it's easy to become like disappointed if you set your expectations too high. And for me, like I I have this issue like with a lot of things where I'm like thinking past like what I'm doing and not being in the moment, right? And not like appreciating what I have and thinking about comparing it to like my ideal of what I thought it was going to be. So it was like very important to me to not have too many expectations, but be able to just like absorb and like be in the moment while I was there, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Which I feel like ended up being like a little bit of it had its like advantages and disadvantages, because I feel like I was like able to just like live in the moment, and then afterwards I feel like there was like a bit of a disadvantage because I people were asking me like, oh, like what were your expectations and what do you want to like do with this? And I'm like, I feel like I didn't think about it in that way, which I think is both like another thing that's like both positive and negative, because I was kind of using it as an experience just to experience it. Like, not very often do you get to like meet people that you've looked up to, that you've kind of become friends with, and get to do something that's really cool that you never thought you were going to be able to do. And so appreciating that kind of like at face value. Um because I think there's a lot of pressure when like given a platform that like you have to do something with it or it's like a failure. And I didn't want to look back on my time with Kind of Funny and think of it as a failure if I didn't like quote unquote like capitalize on it, if
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense. So I didn't want to look at it as like a stepping stone to something else. I wanted to look at it as the experience that it was.
It
Does
makes
that make
perfect
sense?
sense, and I think it's a very adult way of looking at things, Madeline. You're amazing. Yes, you're
Oh,
amazing.
thank you.
Yeah, like I think it's so important because like it is easy to get wrapped up in all the fast paced and like movement of, you know, like yeah, to your point, like it's some folks you look like we look up to, and like it's they've been doing this a long time, so of course like they have a lot of experience, and that can be also where it sort of keeps prevents you from like just living in the moment. And it, like for me, like it's almost like
Mhm.
hard to change lanes and like pretend like, you know, just be in it, just pretend you're in it and you've been here, right, and you're
Yeah.
good at what you do. But no, I think that that makes perfect sense, and it's easy. You know, I say that like when someone almost like when you can go to a concert sometimes too. Like, you know, I pulling out my phone, try
You're
to record the
totally.
concert instead of just like being in the moment. Like, I think a lot of like a lot of situations like that, and you know, um, it's important. I'm gonna remember that too next time I do anything else that maybe where I'm getting distracted or thinking too far ahead of myself here, or like trying to plan too much. I'm a big planner, and that sometimes gets in the way of just the natural flow of things.
Yeah. I think obviously planning has its time and place. And I did a lot of planning with them. Kind of I know I'm like getting ahead
No,
of maybe one of the
no.
questions you're going to ask, but
If it leads into
uh
it, go ahead.
we did a lot of we did a lot of brainstorming, and like basically they kind of approached me and they were like, "What do you want to do while you're here? Like we will um figure out, like pitch us anything and we'll tell you if something's not possible, otherwise we're going to make it happen. Like if there's something that's impossible for whatever reason, like we can't do it, but anything else is like fair game basically. Like you tell us how you want to use every person, like everyone's down to just like do whatever you would like to do." So I threw out like so many ideas, and like initially I wasn't going to have like so much presence on every show. And then I came in with all these ideas and they're like, "Let's just like put you on everything." And then I was on too many things and Joey was like, "You're on like 5 shows on Friday. Like we have to figure
Yeah,
this
I
out."
noticed.
And I was
I
like,
was
"You
just
know
like,
what?"
damn, they are. She is on so much content, and I think that just goes to say,
Yeah.
like, no, like, I, I'm glad you got to do that, and your ideas. You had so many ideas that ended up matching and being a good placement. But yeah, I also would think, God, it's also tiring. Like, did you find yourself like
Oh, so
getting a little tired,
tiring.
getting the vocals getting a little dry?
Yeah. Definitely, I was not used to talking like all day, every day for 5 days in a row. And especially by like Friday, I was like, actually, Friday ended up being a really long day because I like I did every show on Friday, and then we went out to a movie with Joey and Roger and Leanza, and then I went to Nick's comedy show that night
Damn.
too. So I literally did like a full Kind of Funny day on Friday. But Saturday I was dead. I was like sleeping on the plane. I could not keep my eyes open.
That's a good bookend though. Like go out with a bang. But
It
man, what?
was.
Yeah, because I'm also
Yeah.
like, you know, I love doing stuff like this, but I need my introvert time because I do like being
Hmm.
to my with my own thoughts a lot. Which I might feel a little differently, like stepping into the new world where I'm just sort of at a computer by myself. I might feel the opposite because I've come from an environment that is full of people all the time, almost too many, where I can't sort of have like that kind of connection like individually. Just like a whole, I've been working with a lot of people all at once. Um, to now just myself, which is really great right now. But yeah, that's a tough thing about it. Like having, you know, even just this week, like I'm doing this with you, and I've done so many shows. I used to like me and Kayla do our podcast like once every couple weeks because also she with her job it's hard to balance our time too. Um, so even just doing this with you, and I just did something last night. I did something like 3 days ago. Like that doesn't sound like a lot, but even just doing those, like it's catching up with me. Like, and I'm having to, you know, sort of use
Hmm.
that muscle a little bit more. But sorry, I went on a rambling
Yeah,
again.
I definitely think, oh no, it was not a ramble. It was relevant. I definitely think that's people who don't podcast or stream or any of those types of things. I think, or even like have a service job where you're having to interact with
Yeah.
people a lot. Definitely don't want to count those people out. But I think if you're not used to those types of things, you don't understand like how draining it can be, even if it's the funnest thing
Exactly.
in the world. Like even when you're doing the most fun thing, you're playing games, you're with your friends, like it is very exhausting because um you're just using so much energy. You even if you're being yourself, you're like
Yeah.
performing a little bit, right? You're trying to think of the best ways to say things. Like you're trying to be entertaining. You're thinking of jokes. You're like, how can I phrase this? You're thinking of ideas like how to be an interesting conversationalist, like we're doing right now, where it's like it
You're
does
so
take a
good at
lot,
it.
and that's something that
I'm gonna
actually
pause
did
and say
really.
you're so good
What?
at it though, and obviously even from last week, I'm just gonna say
Oh,
like
thank you.
you are such a natural at it, and I feel like we've talked a little bit, but definitely not like this, and I literally feel like I've been talking to you for years. So yeah,
Oh,
very.
thank you. I feel the same way.
Thank you. Yeah, didn't mean
Right
to
back
interrupt
at
you
you.
again.
But I do think that was something that I was surprised by when I went there, which is like obviously there's the studio and the on-camera stuff, and then like when everyone in Kind of Funny is like not on camera, it's like very quiet in there. And I think everyone's like reserving their energies, right? Like save your energy, be quiet, and then go use all the energy out
Beyond.
when you're on a show or you're streaming, because I was kind of expecting like The Office to be as zany as like you see it, but I think everyone is trying to conserve their energy, which I can definitely
Like,
appreciate
please God,
after
yeah,
only
like
being there for
if
a
we're in here,
week.
can we please just sit and like look at our phones for a few minutes and catch up? Because like on top of that, just like
Yes.
staying on top of all the updates in the gaming space too, and like that's you're also
Mhm.
just having to review and make sure you're staying caught up. So it's cool that like in between things, like yeah, it sort of settled down. Listen, even today, like trying to stay up on news and then like make our little promos that I put together and making sure this stream and this was good enough for you because I wanted you to have an easy time joining me, like took up a good chunk of my day. So I see like in between doing the
Yeah, it
show, like
does.
the prep to the show also is a lot of work. Um that's cool though. Where were we? Uh Another question for you because we're getting close to the end. We went way beyond. You were like, "Hey, hour, but I also can go longer." You should have said that because we have definitely went longer. I will have
That's okay.
timestamps.
Give the
I
people
will
what
have
they want.
timestamps on this video for us on YouTube, of course. But everyone that's been hanging out with us so long, thank you. I know it's been good convo. Okay, so I think it's now time for question number 3 for you. Now that the dust is sort of settled, I feel like you're probably still getting hit up like folks like me. I was really glad I got to book you before someone else beat me to
Yeah.
it. What are some takeaways you have from the experience that maybe you'll blend into either if it's your streaming, your photography, gigs and other projects, that you've shared with me, you got your hands on a few things, like any takeaways that have sort of brought new life to those things, or I don't know, perspective on life in general. I don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a couple of things that I've definitely thought a lot about since then. Like one of my big things that's like, or one of the things that's a small thing, but something I keep needing to remind myself is like, it was so impressive to me, like how timely everything that they do is, and something that I'm so bad at, which is like, I'll make a TikTok or like take a photo and I'll post that tomorrow, and then tomorrow turns into next week, and then I'm like, dang, it's like not really
Yeah.
relevant anymore, but I still am proud of it. So I guess I'm going to post it. And that's something like I need to be a lot better about, is like sharing things that I'm excited about like quickly, and not necessarily, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's relevant to right now. So that's not even something anyone specifically like told me. It's just something I observed. Like I'm like, oh, when something funny happens, like someone's clipping it out immediately, it's going up, and people are still excited about it because it
Yeah.
just happened. And it's like, oh, if you wait a week to do that, then people are like, oh, less excited. So that's something I'm trying to get better about. One of the other things I think was trying to find a happy balance between doing something you love and doing something that is like relevant to other people, because I think it can swing into one of those too far like very easily. And obviously like, if you're just doing something for the love of doing it, like please just do that. But if you are trying to build something, whether that be streaming or a podcast or a social media following, I think it's important that you're posting or saying or doing like something that people are asking for, but also something that you're passionate about. Like something that I had to learn with streaming, which is like I have to play something that I'm enjoying, otherwise it's not fun for anybody. And but I also have to enjoy it enough that like I would be happy streaming it to one person. And like if that's good enough for me to do that, then I can find an audience for whatever it is I want to do. Like I love playing horror games, and even if there's one person watching me, like I'm still going to have fun doing that. If it has to be a lot of people watching you for you to have fun, then maybe that's like not the right topic or game to be in. And I think Kind of Funny is really specifically good at finding things that each person is interested in, that's also the audience is interested in, finding that really happy medium. And I think that's a difficult thing to learn, but something that I really observed and I want to implement my own. Like, do you feel that way with your
Yeah, for sure.
podcast?
Cause like we're all over the place and like um we were literally talking about The Last of Us way too much. And I was like, we need to have a dedicated show for this so people like can know like we can separate that. I at this point I probably should have a Destiny podcast, but I hate it, so I wouldn't do that. Um but yeah, like just trying to I think you landed on like, if you're not enjoying it, no one else can enjoy it. I think that's so important. I really want to also get really into streaming, but I think that's something I got to figure out too, because like I'm just not great at like talking into a mic while I'm playing a game. So I got to figure out what works for me.
Mhm.
I haven't really figured that because I want to stream and I want to be doing that. I just don't know how I can interact with somebody where they're enjoying it. And I might have people that are tuning in that are
Mhm.
enjoying it, but like I don't know that. So like, it just for me, I guess it's just gonna take practice and see what kind of engagement I get. But I like to your point, like I think I'm gonna stick with that. Like I'm gonna stream like only the things I really like. So I'm so excited to stream Dragon Age. And I think that will be the perfect game for me to stream because like I like to pretend to be in character. I want to make the character with everyone that's watching. I think it's gonna be fun. Like I might name my character Scooter, like I did in Starfield. Like I love just a little cowgirl in space. I can be a cowgirl in the Veil Guard, like whatever. Um, that I think that's gonna be sort of my thing. Like I just stream like the games I'm really into. Or I know that would be entertaining. I like being funny. I do like comedic relief is just it's just where I am. Like it can be, a disaster going on. I'm gonna try to find a joke to make someone feel like they can laugh. So, yeah, like I think that's so important though. Like if you're not enjoying it, what's the point?
Mhm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of there is this like want, and I'm not saying I'm immune to this by any means, but like, to chase the meta, like what's popular, like should I play the game that just came out, like how many games do I need
Yeah.
to buy, not just to play but to stream because like that's what these people are doing. And I think I think a lot of people fall into that trap, and it took me a while to figure that out, but it's like, look, I'm just gonna stream all the Dark Pictures anthology games. Like they're not new. I know they have a small audience, but like that's what's fun for me. And like I think there are people out there who want to watch that and who want to have fun with me watching it. I streamed Heavy Rain, a game that's like I don't know how old at
Sean!
this
I
point.
just like doing
And
that.
everyone
Jason.
Jason. Uh and everyone's like, most people have seen it, but it's like, why not? It's fun, and I'll find some people who want to watch. And like, if no one shows up, then that's okay too. And like, I still got to play a game that
That's
I
it.
loved. And I think that is like the benefit of it not being like my sole source of income, right? I'm able to like be a little bit more chill about it. Um, but that's kind of how I look at
There's
it.
this chick on Instagram. It's definitely a parody. When you said my sole source of income, it made me think of the lizard lady. Do you know what video I'm talking about? I'll send it to
No.
you.
Who's the lizard
It's a
lady?
like it's a skit, but basically this lady's just like screaming at the camera because her sole source of income is putting this lizard on Instagram, like running this lizard's Instagram account. And she's
I
like
think
smoking a
I
cigarette. She's
actually
like, I just gotta take care of this.
you're
I gotta post
reminding me.
pictures of this lizard at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It's my whole life. I have no other time. I'm cleaning the lizard. Like, I just thought that was funny. It made me think of that video. I haven't watched it in a long time. Um,
Uh,
all right. All right. We're gonna get to the end of this. We're doing it. Uh, so and you sort of answered this too, like a little bit where we touched on it, but like how did you get going with streaming, and going further with it?
yeah, I kind of got into it like because I started, I mean, through Kind of Funny, honestly. Like I watched, that was my introduction to Twitch was through Kind of Funny. Like I started listening to them on podcasts. They started mentioning Twitch. I was like, what's Twitch? I went to it. I was watching it and I was like, oh, I had seen a lot of I was like a big gaming YouTube Let's Play person, like as a younger person. I followed a bunch of different channels, but I didn't really understand the live aspect of it. And then when I saw the live aspect, I was like, that's so fun. Like, I love getting that instant feedback and feeling like you're playing with friends and um, making friends with people across the world who have the same interests as you is so cool. And I also feel like I saw a space, and I'd love your take on this as well, like being very few women in the gaming space, and then especially like women in
Yeah.
horror. Like, I feel like those two niches are don't have a ton of women in them, and as two things that I really love that I feel like I don't have other women to connect with too, and just with people in general. Like, it's a really nice source to be able to connect with those people through Twitch, through streaming, just through being on social media, and like finding these little pockets of communities of people who like also love horror games and who also love horror movies and love any kind of games. I think it's really important to like find your people, and it's been a really good way to do that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the coolest thing about what I get to tell other people that don't really understand. I told a couple of folks that I've worked with before, like, hey, I'm actually got two things I got going on this week, and I'm actually interviewing someone. They're like, what, for a job? I'm like, no, like I'm interviewing them about what they do when they stream video games, like trying to make it very simple. And it just like was like that just did not click with them at all. And I think there is something very special about
Mhm.
a podcast group of friends that not only do we talk online, but like we also engage like this. And I think that's just, it's unique. It's very unique. I don't know if this kind of thing exists anywhere else for real. Like where you can also play a game together, you can stream it together, or you can hop on this
Mhm.
and stream just talking about them. Um, but no, like, especially for, other women that are doing this, like it is rare. Like when I actually was lucky and like me and Kayla met each other through in real life at work, and we just started talking about games. And then one day I was just like, I've always wanted to do a podcast. You want to just do this with me? And she was like, yeah, let's try it. And like we've been doing it for 3 years. And like I was so
I
lucky, and
love
not
that.
because she's a lady. I mean, that was just an added bonus because I'm like, I mean, how often do you find an extroverted female that is wanting to talk about video games weekly, like just at your workplace? Like, I don't know how common that is. It's not as common as you think. Especially, I'm from Alabama. Like, it's not as diverse, and like as far as like going to meet people, it's a little more difficult. Um, you like got to
Mhm.
get on groups to see if anyone's going to the local library that likes games. I don't know. I don't do that. I just the first thing that came to my mind. I've seen
Just meeting random people at the
that does sound
library.
like a post I've read in like for a Reddit in my town, right? Um,
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's hard. So just like jumping on the opportunity and like, any lady in this space too, like just trying to support them. And like literally before this, I was watching a lady play Destiny. Once again, I hate it, but I'm watching people play it. Um, she just had a few viewers, but not a whole lot of folks. But she was trying to solo a dungeon, and so like yeah, I subscribed to her because I thought that was cool. And this, I think it's important, and I'm so like one reason I just want to connect with you because I'm like, oh my gosh, another gal that wants to talk about this stuff. Let me definitely, and you like scary games, like it's cool. But yeah, it's not enough, and I just want to make sure that's thing I love about games is that like I get to tell people how cool they are, and they're not just for boys. Girls can play
Yeah.
too. People of all ages can play. So, and that's one thing we're
And I definitely feel like that has
yeah.
changed. Like, I don't think, like, I know we're both like in our
Yes.
30s and our early
Yes.
30s.
I'm
And
actually it's
I,
the
as a
mid
young
30s, I'm
person,
gonna be honest. Believe it or not. I have a washboard
okay.
forehead. It's there. So the only abs on my body are my forehead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again.
But I feel like as like a kid, I definitely didn't know any other girls who were playing games. And I definitely think now it's much
Mm-hmm.
different, right? You do go on Twitch and you see a lot of women and there's a lot of, people with their like creamy keyboards on TikTok and their
The
gaming
cozy
setups and they're like
things.
little and yeah, and all the cozy games and like I love that. And I'm fine with whatever game you want to play. Like I welcome all gamers of all
Same.
genders and everything. I'm just happy for us all to play games
Yeah.
together. So no matter what they are.
Well, I just clicked on an emoji in this document. I didn't mean to. So if you see a smiley face, sorry if that popped up. Um, Last two questions. We're down to the singles.
Yeah.
Not the singles, the couples.
We got it. I do have to answer a
Oh,
question
go
from the
ahead,
chat.
please. Thank you
I
for
don't
paying
know
attention.
I don't know if Game Over Cholo is
Oh
still
no,
here.
how long ago was this one?
Game Over
Sorry.
Cholo, it was a minute ago.
Okay.
But what are my favorite horror movies of the year? And also for you, Jerica, I think. And Game Over Cholos were Exuma, which is a Korean movie, and The Substance. And I would definitely say The Substance is high on
I
my
gotta
list.
watch it.
That
Haven't
movie
seen it yet.
was
Haven't seen it yet.
nuts.
Okay.
Oh, it's nuts.
I've been seeing a lot of memes about it, but I don't really know what's going on. So
Oh, you need to go into
I'm
it
trying.
with like
Yeah. No, I know
knowledge,
nothing. Okay.
if you can.
I might add that to my list this week.
I'm trying to think what other movies. I'm opening my
Oh, yeah, I need to
letterbox.
see.
If y'all are big film people, get a letterbox, follow me. I write things occasionally. What other new movies have I seen
really
recently?
love Long Legs. I loved it. It was a good time.
Yes, Long Legs was good.
The marketing for it was also incredible, but I was like, man, I hope they're not hyping this up to be something else that I don't expect. But no, it lived up to my expectations for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed Long Legs as well. I feel like there's one I'm forgetting. And I haven't seen Exuma, but it's been on my list. So I will have to check that one out. Because I've heard good things about it. There's one that is like on my mind that I can't think of what it is. I did really enjoy VHS Beyond, which came to Shudder. And I also
yeah,
it's a good one.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
And I also liked In a Violent Nature, which that one's very divisive amongst people, but I really
watch
enjoyed
it, but I just didn't want to be weird. I feel like I'm like, oh, this might be just too dark, but like obviously I sort of want to watch it. I want to I'll watch it and then I want to hear your thoughts because I do like a divisive I like that's one of my favorite words. Not really, but like I love when there's content like that. So
look, if art elicits a strong emotion, it's doing its job.
I agree.
That's what I think.
Did you see Late Night with the Devil?
I did. I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was like
love the
good
setup.
for me.
Didn't like how it wrapped up, but I love the idea of being a live talk show, like late night found footage. I thought was cool.
Definitely. Wild World said, "What's my letterboxed?" I think if you do Mad Exposure, I'm that on everywhere, or if you search Madeline Stanley, one of those should bring me up.
I'm gonna put all your links loud and clear And I don't think we
Oh yeah.
did that at the very beginning of the episode. Like I was like once again the worst host. I'm gonna put them everywhere.
You're not the worst host
No.
by far.
I can't think of any other. I know I've seen more movies this year, but
I know, it's like all of them
I
left my
remember one
brain.
last one. Double Blind was also love that movie. I think it's on Netflix.
I didn't see that. I'll have to add
Double
that to my
Blind.
list.
Like if you like, trying to think of something that's like it off the top of my head, but it's like an experimental like drug that people are signing up to take, and it takes a turn.
Okay, you're peeking. This sounds up my
Yeah,
alley.
like that.
Awesome.
Did we answer all the? Thank you. You're
Just
the
wanted to get
best.
that
Thank you
question
for
in
looking
there.
at the chat. The poor chat. Like if they were my children, they'd just be starving. Which I shouldn't talk about starving children, but my starving children. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
Let me let you in.
We see you, chat.
Let me get you some milk. I don't know. That's what kids like to drink. I think milk, chocolate milk. Where did my note go? Oh, I minimized it. Hold on. Okay, we got 2 questions left. And we can answer this one a little bit together, just like tips for anyone getting started, which we sort of touched on. I know I did. I rambled on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I think you touched on it too. Like, did you have anything else to add? Like if anyone else was thinking about doing this too. Sorry, I had like a hiccup.
Yeah.
It's almost like I was coughed. That was a weird hiccup cough.
My tip, and I have said this to like, I will say like one of the best things about being part of the Kind of Funny community is like the built-in friends. And I've met up with so many different Kind of Funny people. I was very lucky to meet with you. I met up with a bunch of people at the Game Awards, at Summer Game Fest, just at when they did like the Game Awards orchestra here in LA. Like I've done so many different things where I've met up with people. And the thing I tell everyone, which is like, if you're thinking about doing something, whether it's starting a podcast, starting a Twitch, doing YouTube, or even just like making TikToks or whatever it is, if it's like anything, like just do it. Like I know that is a very simple thing to say, but you're never gonna regret having started. Like you will regret it in a year when you haven't started your podcast and you don't have any of that stuff under your belt. But if in a year you don't want to do it anymore, you can always stop. But like, just do it because you have something to say. Every person is unique. If you have fun doing it, it's totally worth putting it out there, and you will find the people like Jarek and I were saying, like you'll find your people out there who like Destiny but also hate it. Or you'll find the people who like horror movies or talking about video games or whatever it is. If they want to talk about The Last of Us, like there are people out there who care about what you think, and like your voice is important to the world, and you should do it if you're thinking about doing it. Because like we have all of the tools we could ever need at this point in our lives. Like your phone has a camera, it has editing stuff, like anybody can make anything. Don't worry about being perfect. Just get your opinions and voice out there.
I'm so glad teenage Jerica did not have an iPhone, because I made lots of really bad parodies of horror movies during that time. And it's just I need to see those, Jerica. Horrific.
They need to be uploaded to
I'm
YouTube.
trying to like figure out how I could do that and what would be not the cringiest, but like, we one of our first movies me and my best friend made was the Blair Witch Project in my front yard. There was a pine cone with ketchup involved. I think I talked about this on the last stream, like literally, but we talked about it. Like I gotta figure that out, but I'm so glad the high quality stuff was not around, because this is on like one of those VHS camcorders, or even like I think we had like the mini DVD camcorders. Actually had a disc, which was like really fancy at the time. But yeah, good times. I'm glad they didn't exist. But yeah, we have professional like you could record something on your phone and put it on Netflix basically, and it look okay. Yeah. That's crazy. I agree. Do it.
But yeah, I think it's just do it.
Just do it.
And don't worry about it being perfect. Like you learn, like Jericho was talking about earlier, like everything takes practice. Like I think we expect, because we see so many other people, like if you are a Kind of Funny fan, like you see where Kind of Funny is now. That's not where they were when they started. Like that's not what it looked like. So don't compare yourself to day 10,000 of someone else's journey. Like, just get going. You'll learn, you'll practice, you'll find a new way, and like you'll make something really cool. And I'm out here trying to support everybody. So if you make something,
Yeah.
let me know and I'll come like it.
Same here. And I'll agree too, like, I don't know, like, even if you're not like interested in like making the thing, I think the cool thing is that you get to find someone else to be your you can fan out with. And I think that's the another part of this, like just find your group. And I think we got a few folks here just even in the chat like, hey, it's our group of folks. And um I also just love listening to people talk, and I'm once again so thankful to have you here and listening to your thoughts and opinions. But yeah, that's the other part of it too. Like, you might just be lucky and already be here, but yeah, like, let's just say, like, you can't, just hop into someone's stream and just be a listener or whatever. I'm getting tired now, so now my brain's just not is just breaking. You know what I mean?
We'll wrap it up.
All
we'll
right.
wrap it up.
So, Madeline, this is my favorite question, and it's taken us 2 hours.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And some change, I think, to get here. Right at 2 hours. We're right at 2 hours. I always ask because it sort of gives us a good glimpse of what kind of person you are, and also if you ever were demonic at any point in time, I could summon you, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Ooh.
So last question. If I had to summon you via black magic, what are 5 items I would need to complete the summoning of Madeline Stanley?
Okay. I think you would need a can of Diet Coke.
Nice.
a PS4 copy of Until Dawn, physical, not a digital download. Yep. I need the disc. And maybe like a Disneyland churro or something. You got some good ones. Little Disneyland snack.
Oh shoot.
Then this one's like oddly specific, but a while back, Walmart put all of the Fast and Furious DVDs in a little commemorable tire, so you need that too. And then the last thing... Ooh, this one's tough. What's my last thing? Maybe the Trader Joe's freezer chicken tiki masala meal, because I eat like 2 of those a week.
Your list is really freaking good. It might be, you almost summon me. That's where it's pretty close. Because the Diet Coke was already like, first thing, like if I had to drink any soda, it's going to have to be, it's either a Fresca or a Diet Coke. Because I love Diet Coke. It just, especially.
Oh, Fresca's like I love throwback. Fresca.
It is my jam. But I love Diet Coke and just cracking the can. And then if there is, I know it's not the best for the environment, but a foam cup with that ice, Diet Coke in a foam cup. That I call it the Pizza Hut ice. I'm a goner. Like that just tastes so good.
So good.
One of my friends also has the tire with the Need for Speed. Not Need for Speed.
Yeah, the real ones.
What's it called again? Thank you. That's what I meant. The cars. The fast cars and the tires. I think that's really cool. Amazing. Madeline, we've reached the end. I hope you had a good time.
Yay, but also sad.
Hey, we can do this more.
I had a great time.
Definitely if here's the thing. Me and Kayla are trying to figure out like a new schedule. We're trying to have a weekly thing, but we also want to stream more stuff, and we'd love to have you. So like I'll shoot you
I'd love to be
some
there.
info on what we're playing, what we're interested in, and see if you want to hop in and join us, because it's like we do like the things that we stream together are always scary things. It's always something like that, because we just like to watch each other freak out. So but yeah, we'll have to do that sometime. If anyone wanted to find exactly not where you are, because that sounds creepy, but on the internet, how would they find you? Like looking around? There's no clues.
Is someone here? If you would like to hear more from me, you can find me almost everywhere on the internet at Mad Exposure. So you'll find me on Twitter, on Blue Sky now, because apparently people are over there. I'm on Instagram if you want to see some of my photos. I'm on Twitch, and I'm actually streaming tomorrow night, or depending on when you're listening to this, Wednesdays. I stream on Wednesdays, usually around 6:30 Pacific time. Usually a spooky game as well. And then yeah, so definitely check me out on all those things. Twitch, definitely if you're already here on Twitch, pop on over to my channel at Mad Exposure. Give me a little
Do
follow. I would love to see you over there.
Do it. I don't sing, but I like doing stuff like that. Well, it's been such a pleasure. Like I said, I'm gonna put your info everywhere when I post this episode, so everybody can find you. But yeah, it's time to crack open a Diet Coke. Do you have one? Yeah, I'm gonna do that too.
I don't have one.
Okay,
nearby.
Yeah,
I should have.
No,
you should have planned
maybe
this.
next time we'll have the Cokes ready to pop. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time talking with you. Let's do it again.
Until next time, everybody. I don't know why I looked over here like y'all can see me. I need to do this more. I don't talk to the camera. Goodbye, chat.
Actually, I was thinking you do it well.
Yeah, well, the chat was over here, and I always do that. I'm like, wait, they're over here. They're inside the camera. The people that are watching are in the camera. I have to remember that they're there. Bye.